Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. How are we getting on? Welcome back to another episode of Settlement Building 101, back by popular demand. Today we're going to focus on the group select function, or the pillar glitch, or select all as it's often known. So, if you like what you see, do hit that big red button, and let's get stuck in. Okay, so our little workspace here. So group select basically does exactly what it says on the tin and allows you to move multiple objects as if they were a single one. So we've got two filing cabinets right next to each other here, and if we want them to be in this position but a different location, just take aim on one of them, with a crosshair on it there, so it's highlighted, press and hold select, and we select them both, as if they're a single object. That means we can now move them together and put them just about wherever we like. Of course, one of the things that makes these handy is they have a very large collision box on the back, which will be very helpful in a moment. And that will basically allow you to position something into place that might be a little difficult to do in a confined space. So the second function group select has, as I mentioned, allows you to place things a little closer than they would otherwise. So, as I say, these two filing cabinets have quite a large collision on the back. If we try and put them close to each other, yeah, we're not getting anywhere there, are we? However, if you use group select, you can basically ignore a large portion of that collision box on the back. So we'll take one of my favourite objects here, it's the oil lamppost, and we're going to move it up nice and close. I'm using this one because, like a number of other objects you can use, it has a very small profile, and it snaps to the ground. It won't float up and around, won't sink into the ground either. So that means we can keep things flat and flush with the ground, which, when we come to the concrete pillar in a moment, is more versatile, but also makes it harder to keep things level on the surface. So, group select again, holding the select button, and it'll even let us push it slightly inside the surface of it there. Let's bring it a bit closer so you can see a bit better. See what I mean there? Got an overlap, which is quite the change from not being able to get it even close before. It's a very handy little technique. So, the technique you'll probably see used the most, but certainly by me and most likely by others, involves using the concrete pillar here. That's labelled concrete wall. It's from the concrete structures tab, and as you see, it's just a nice narrow post. The most useful thing about this one being that it will allow you to sink it into the ground and position it any height you like. You don't have to use this one. You can use, for example, this post, which is from the barn tab. And I'll do the same. Doesn't actually make much difference, it's a bit thinner, but this is the one you're going to see the most often because it's been around the longest. It was added by Wasteland Workshop, I believe, which is the first settlement building DLC. And this is most often used in scenarios where you want to take your object. In this case, we'll grab the filing cabinet again if we get it close enough. There we go, and sink it into the ground. You can see the filing cabinet is now sinking into the ground just like anything else. That doesn't work everywhere, but in most places it will. One problem you can find if you're using mods is that particularly Scrap That Settlement, which allows you to, funnily enough, scrap just about everything, will pick up things like this. What on earth is that? Pork you? Okay. Yeah. So things like this patch of grass here you can scrap. However, once you move over it with the mod on, you won't be able to sink the pillar into it. I've actually got it switched off at the moment, just for the sake of ease. But it's something to be aware of if you're using this technique. So, putting those two things we've just looked at together, you can see over here I've built the worst little shack in the world. Absolutely terrible. But I want to put it just here. See, we've got a bit of a slope on the ground. It's a bit of a narrow space. It's a bit inconvenient to build on, so I've built it nice and flat up here. We'll take our concrete pillar, move it next to the shack, and select all. Move it across a little bit. And we can now position it in. I don't want to push it down too low, so we'll go with there, I think. Move it out of the way. And there we go. Often useful for small buildings like this that you want to put into a confined space, so it's going to be awkward to get your sight lines on if you're doing the same principle with the concrete pillar manually. So one of the most useful techniques for group select, which comes out of the ability to move things closer to each other. There's an extension of that. So when you group select an object, you can also lift it up into the air like this, which helps. You can push it into Bethesda-made structures in particular to reinforce them or board them up, which is not playing ball here. We've got an ordinary vanilla wall here. You can use the concrete pillar. Ideally you want to be as far back as you can get, which apparently that's too far, and still select it, because that way you won't have collision issues with the pillar. I've got a good bit of working room there. And you should be able to just bury it into the wall. There we go, that's what we were looking for. Some parts of the wall you'll find are tougher than others. If you get the positioning right, you see it's mostly disappeared in there, and the window's nice and boarded up. Now that technique, as I say, mostly won't work with player-made structures. There are a few exceptions. The half walls, which these ones are all modded, so let's have a look at that one. If you're not using mods, and this one, they snap, so you can't use the rug glitch, but you can select them as group select, and they will push together quite well. I'm going to show you with these two because you can see it a little more clearly. And if I wanted to take these two half-height walls and make something a bit taller for a nice solid junk wall, how close are we there? A little too close. There we go. So, see that's glitching through it now? There we go, look at that. So we'll lift it up. So that's what we want to do. Okay, that's been awkward, so let's try it the other way, shall we? And there we go, we effectively have a very badly done double height wall. It just gives you a few more options when you're building. You can come up with some different textures and different pieces that way. As an extension of what we've already talked about, one of the most useful ways of using the concrete pillar is in conjunction with junk fences like this. So you take it like that, group select, and it will allow you to place the junk fence much more closely to another piece. So the collision boxes often mean that you've got sizable gaps in between your fence, makes them look very insecure when you're walling things off. So move that up a little bit. Apparently it doesn't want to work now, so there we go. So that's better than it would otherwise have been. It still looks a little bit rubbish. So we're going to combine this now in a very handy technique with the rug glitch. As you can see, I've got a rug here ready. So I'm going to move that over, position it on the edge. If you want to see a bit more on the rug glitch, the previous part of this series covers it in more detail. So we'll do that, pops up. Yep, we are good. And on that one we aren't group selecting. But now we're going to move the pillar in nice and close to the edge of the rug. Push it up a bit. Make sure the bottom of the pillar is always beneath the level of the item you want to glitch. It's true even if you're not using the rug, because otherwise it will have a tendency to just jump around and won't play ball at all. So we're just below the surface of the ground there. We will group select by holding X, in this case, on the pillar. You can see it's highlighted the rug, it's highlighted the pillar, but the junk fence is not highlighted. That's acting as if it's rug glitched. So it's ignoring the collision from that. We can now push it in much more neatly, like that. And there we go. You need to be a bit careful when you're doing that, because if the clipping is too obvious, it's going to look horribly artificial. But there we go, much neater. There's a principle that will apply to a lot of different things. As always with the rug glitch, of course, it won't do it with anything that will snap, so you can't do it with the small door pieces. The large ones, that we have over here, these you can rug glitch, as we saw last time, so you can use the same technique for that. Say, not the ones with the doors in them, because the doors snap into place. So, there's a couple of final thoughts. Obviously I've skipped over this reasonably quickly. I think I've given you the bare bones so you can see how to use the techniques. But they're very, very versatile, and there's no way I could show you everything you can do with them. So play around with it, experiment a bit once you've got the hang of it, and you'll find out that the possibilities are not quite limitless, but close enough. So I hope you found that useful. And at some stage there will be another part. I'll have to decide what I'm going to do it on yet, but you know. So if you did enjoy the video, do hit those buttons for me. It's always very much appreciated. I will be speaking to you very, very soon. Thank you very much.